Hello, hi. Welcome back to our Kubernetes series. In this video, let us discuss about network policies in Kubernetes. Why the default Kubernetes is wide open and what is a network policy. We will be discussing about a traffic directions like ingress and egress traffic controls and how the network policies work, a step-by-step flow, and a pod selectors and label matching, like label-based targeting. How does that actually work? We will be seeing a real-world example how a three-tier application works using these network policies, and we'll be seeing some benefits out of using a network policies. And the important requirement for network policies is container network interface plugin. We'll be discussing about that and a quick recap about a complete picture about the network policies. So without further ado, let's enter into the video and have a discussion. First thing, the network policies are helps to control the network traffic within the Kubernetes. So it is going to help us to decide which pod can talk to which pod. So in network policies, we are able to like maintain this communication. Let's say front end to back end to database, and front end should not talk to the database. So here network policies is going to enforce these particular rules. So let's deep dive into this. So let's understand the problem, like why exactly the default Kubernetes is wide open. First thing, all the pods can talk or communicate to all pods by default. So there is no restrictions. A front-end pod can directly reach out to the production database. A logging pod can hit into a payment service also. And there is a chances for lateral movement becomes which was travel. So if one pod is compromised, an attacker can use it to reach to any other pod in any namespace across the whole cluster. And databases expose it to all the network. So without proper policies, each and every pod in the cluster can attempt to connect to your production database. It is a very huge security risk. And there will be a chances of data exfiltration, which is easier. So a compromised pod can freely communicate to a external IPs to leak the data, and that will that is because of ingress is unrestricted by default. We'll be seeing about ingress and egress concepts, and network policies obviously equals to the cluster firewalls, we can say. So here we are going to apply the rules that says exactly which pods can talk to which pod, and we are going to block everything else, and maintaining a micro segmentation. So default state of Kubernetes is if it uses a flat network, so each and every pod can reach out to each other. So network policies are the only way to change those default behavior. So this is how exactly the network policies are, like without network policies behavior and with network policies behavior. If you see here, the front end pod is directly talking to the database, and logging pod is directly communicating to the payment service, and any pod can read or communicate to the secrets pod. So here, there is a major challenge. There is no proper segmentation or management. If you see the with the network policies, front end pod can only talk to the database only. Then, sorry, front end can talk to the only backend. Then backend will talk to the database. Front end cannot talk to the database, and also the logging pod cannot communicate to the payment pod. It is the communication is blocked or restricted. Now let us understand the definition for network policies. So network policies, it is an Kubernetes object where we are defining a traffic rules. So we are going to specify which pod can send a traffic to. That means that is a ingress concept, or receives a traffic from. Okay, that is a egress concept from other pods or external IP addresses. So it works like a firewall for the pods. So except instead of IP based rules, it uses a labels and selectors to identify which workloads the rules apply to, and it uses a label selectors to target pods. So policies will select the pod by using the label selectors. It is flexible, dynamic, and cloud native. If you see here in this network policy YAML file, there is a concept of pod selector which matches with this particular label. Okay, and it is a additive, like multiple policies can combine. If your pod matches your multiple network policies, all their rules are applied, and it is kind of union of all the allowed traffic. And by default deny whenever the when sorry by default deny when any policy exists. So once a network policy selects a pod, all the traffic is not explicitly allowed, it's automatically blocked. And for simple understanding, for better analogy, you can think like network policy is a security guard for each and every room. So they check the ID, those are the labels, as I said, and before letting anyone in or out, they will check that particular ID label, and obviously no badge is equals to no entry. This particular label, if it is not there, then that was not allowed to communicate. So if you see here, this particular label, which is backend pod, can only communicate to this particular database pod. Okay, this communication is allowed. Now let us understand the traffic directions by there are two major controls, which is ingress and egress traffic control. So ingress is something a incoming traffic to a pod. So basically inbound traffic we are controlling by using a ingress concept, and outgoing traffic from that particular pod we are controlling by using a egress concept. So ingress basically controls which pods can send a traffic to the selected pod, okay, and who is allowed to call me, like that, okay. And egress is something, it controls which pod selected, I mean which pods a selected pod can send a traffic to. So where am I allowed to call, okay. It is kind of incoming and it is kind of outgoing. And here is the simple YAML script, how it was defined for allowing only the backend to reach the database. Here is the ingress label we are specifying as the backend, and for egress concept we are specifying the from the database we can receive, okay. And in the ingress concept we are specifying incoming traffic from backend it can receive, okay. And it is basically outgoing data to the database we can send the traffic to, okay. If you see here, backend is sending a data, is allowed to communicate to the database, but frontend is not allowed to the database. And same way, ingress concept, backend is allowed to the database, and backend is not allowed to the external world. And here is the keynotes about this traffic controls. Once a policy is exists, there is no matching traffic is explicitly denied. Based upon that particular policy only, the traffic is allowed or denied, okay. And the policies are additive. That means multiple policies can combine with a or logic. That means this uh, policy or another policy, multiple policies. Any empty pod selector will select say all pods in that particular namespace. And let's quickly cover a step-by-step flow how exactly the network policies work. First of all, the admin will create a network policies with the pod selector. So here the policy targets a pod with these particular label, as I said earlier, and it applies the rules to those particular pods only. And then the container network interface plugin will comes that enforces the policies on that particular node. There are certain network interfaces plugins we'll be discussing in the next slide. There are Calico, and that will basically reach the network policies, and that programs the IP table, basically the rules on each and every node where these particular pods runs. Once it does this job, then pod A will send a request to the database pod, and here the backend pod, which is uh, the pod name itself backend, will tries to connect to the database pod in port number 5432. Once it was trying, then again it will checks the labels. Container network interface will checks the labels whether that particular ingress rule is allowed or not. So if it was allowed, then it connects, I mean that particular connection is allowed. If it was not allowed, then that particular connection is denied. So this is how exactly the decision flow looks like. A pod will send a packet, then container network interface will intercepts here, and it checks for the labels. If it is allowed, then the traffic is allowed. If it is not, then it is going to drop the communication. Now let us see a label-based targeting, how exactly the pod selectors and label matching was work in the real time. First thing, the network policies uses a label to select the pods. So rather than the IP addresses, Kubernetes uses the label selectors, as I said. So it is basically dynamic and portable across the deployments. And then the pod selector will target those particular protected pod, and uh, we are using this as a what we can say selectors, okay. So here we are specifying specifications dot pod selector that selects which pod that particular policy should apply. That means the target pod, okay. And the next rule was from which pod. That means in ingress rules we are specifying from where the pod can receive the traffic. So that defines which pod are allowed to send the traffic to the target pod. And also the namespace selector for across the namespace. There is it basically allows or blocks the traffic from a specific namespace. And also we have a concept of IP block of our external IP ranges, and basically it is allowing a traffic from the specific external IP ranges instead of a specific IP range also we can specify. So it is very much useful for ingress controllers for external API communication. And key insight about this label based targeting was Labels will make the policies resilient. Let's say if a pod is replaced or rescheduled, the policies will automatically apply to that particular new pod as long as that it has the same labels. So that is how exactly it making the resilient. And these are the some label selector types. We have a pod selector, and we have a namespace selector, we have a IP block, and a combined selector. Basically, by using a and argument, we can add together like pod selector and namespace selectors are can be applied together also. Now let us understand a real world example how a three-tier application that has a front end, back end, and database communicates by using a network policies. If you see here, the internet to the internet directly in port 80, the front end application is accessible, and from front end in port 3000, the backend application is accessible. Then, if you see here, from front end directly, the database is not accessible. From the backend, the database is accessible in port 5432. So here is the network policies how it was applied. Front end policy basically that allows the port from the internet, and back end policy it allows the port 3000 from the front end, and coming to the database policy it allows the port 5432 from the back end application only. It not won't allows from the front end or directly from the internet. So this is a example DB network policy YAML specification file. If you see here, we are allowing the backend to communicate to the database in port number 5432. So we are using this specific YAML file to allow these network policies. Now let us understand some benefits why exactly the network policies are required. First thing, it improves the cluster security dynamically, or basically it is going to reduce the blast radius of any breach. Say, let's say if you have a compromised pod that obviously cannot reach to the database or a service, a secret service also, or any sensitive payment APIs also. So network policies is going to block and helps in this blast radius reduction part. And also it blocks the labels, sorry, it also blocks the lateral movement. That means, let's say if you have, as I said, Kubernetes allows the flat network by default. So attackers moves frequently or freely from one service to another service. So here network policies will stop those particular communication, and attackers will stay trapped in that particular pod only. They cannot perform the lateral movement. And also it enables the micro segmentation. That means it will treat each and every service as its own security zone, like a front end, database, back end, that is treated as a individual segmentation part. And it compliance and audit friendly also. That means especially the regulations like payment card industry like PCI DSS, or healthcare industry like HIPAA requirement a proper network segmentation. So here the network policies will provide it by default natively within the Kubernetes environment. And also it is allowed for dynamic and label driven. That means the policies can auto apply whenever the pods with the matching labels are deployed. There is no manual firewall rules update was required. And the best practice to follow was always apply a default deny policy to each and every namespace, then explicitly allow only the connections from each and every service actually it was required. And that makes the zero trust networking. So by default, we need to make sure to block each and every traffic, and then allow only the respective required communication. And a quick important note about the network policies. As I said, it requires a container network interface plugin. Basically, without this particular plugin, network policy is just a specification. So container network policies will network interface will identify this enforcement. So without a compatible container network interface plugin, a network policies objects are just created, but have zero effect, and traffic flows as usual. So CNI plugin was the one who is handling this task. So by default, it is a flannel. It does not support a network policy. So many default cluster that support and uses the flannel, which ignores the policies entirely. So you just need to switch to the policy which policy capables by container network interfaces. And also choosing the container network interface that supports the policies. We have some like industry leading container network interface plugins like Wave is there, Ant is there, Calicum is there, and Calico is there. So there are certain features about these particular network interface plugins. Calico is the most popular, and it offers a full network policy plus Calico network policy, which is the extended feature it was provided for IP tables, and it is great for production workloads. Likewise, each and everything comes with their added advantage. If you see the entry, it is enterprise grade and VMware backend, and it is open for a VS switch under the hood, and it is good for enterprise support and Kubernetes native design it supported. If you see the Wave, it is a simple setup and it is good for smaller clusters, and for testing or sample use case we can use the Wave. And this is the sample command where we can use this to verify your container network interface before deploying any policies. The command was kubectl describe pod and -n and kube system. Basically, that is going to help us to check which container network interface is installed among this. Now, let us have a quick recap about our discussion. We discussed about the network policies. So we need to make sure to apply or to have these best practices or key takeaways out of this discussion. First thing, by default, Kubernetes allows a flat network. So policies is like a firewalls to the pods. So there it was using a IPs. Here we are not using. And we discussed about the concept of traffic flows like ingress and egress, incoming traffic and outgoing traffic, and label based selectors within. And we have seen the container network interface plugins which was required for applying these network policies. So for better understanding or simple analysis, you can think like without policy, it is like a open office and there is no rooms, so each and everyone can work anywhere. There might be some sensitive areas, but still they are allowed to work without policies. So with the policies, there is a secure like policy guards or a security guard that enforces you are allowed to this particular room only, and as a result we are achieving the zero trust network. And one final point about these network policies was, without a network policy, it is like entire open office. With a network policy, it is like having a security guard at each and every door, and they are checking the incoming traffic as well as outgoing traffic both. And that's it for this particular video. In the upcoming video, we'll be discussing about the resource requests as well as limits also, like CPU and memory management within the Kubernetes. And I hope so you got some useful insights out of this discussion. And stay tuned for more videos. Thank you so much for watching. All the best for your learning.